Alright, so now for these window vents, as you can tell I got it completely taken out. She needs a piece there to go on, it needs to be welded on. I'll show you that piece later. So, as you can tell, that this is actually supposed to be black. The sun has faded completely out. The weather stripping here is near mint, so I just got to clean that. You can see it's just very, very dirty, and that just needs to be cleaned up. So I need to paint this piece here, and also in the 70s vans, you got the or late 70s Chev GM, sorry. This is black. So as you can tell, there's a little bit of rusting going on here. You know, just the paint is faded, and it's gone to the metal and is not being protected. So all this stuff here just needs to be, and you can see right there a little bit of rust here. Nothing gone through. It's really good shape. I think this is so much better than the chrome version that came out in the 80s. The black is so much better if you have a black van or a darker color van. I'm going to keep these chrome. That's pretty good. I like that. You don't want too much chrome. It's not the style anymore. It's more black and things like that, but that gives it a nice touch. So I need to sand all this. I'm not taking it from the window because this was installed like this from the factory. This machine here was glued on, and then it was bent towards the window when it was glued, and you see where it's riveted on, stuff like that. I don't want to touch none of that, because all that stuff works perfect. And we got this little thing here that holds onto the door, keep it from moving. Camera's gonna focus or not focus, I don't know. But anyway, and you can see more pits of rust right here, so I need to sand that down and paint it. So it's best for me just to tape all this stuff up and paint just a little bits with a spray can, rattle can, wherever you want to call it. And I want to also just touch up this while I'm at it. I'm going to keep that chrome, so I just got to tape that up. And I'm not going to paint this because this is inside anyway, because when it goes in the van, I'm just going to lubricate it with oil, and it'll stay pretty good. Make sure you lubricate this here with oil as well, because it makes it turn, and if it's not lubricated, it's very hard to turn, and eventually it'll break. And the same goes for this up here. And so my window channel is in pretty good shape. You see little pieces gone here and there, but it's still in good shape. And if I can, down the road, if it gets any worse, I can just peel it off and put it back on while it's installed on the van. It doesn't matter. I don't have to take this whole mechanism out. But if you're going to go to that distance and paint stuff like that, you got to take this apart to this amount. You don't want to go any further than that. And of course I need this piece here welded on. So I'm going to tape this up, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to tape it up, and you can see what it's like. Alright, so all taped up. You can see I used the really good tape here, the real seal tape. You don't want to use that too much on all this stuff because that is a waste. But just to lock it nice and tight onto the window, so when you spray this, don't go underneath. With this stuff, with this tape, it do. And to tell you the truth, sometimes the paint actually eats through this while you're spraying, eats through that type of tape. So make sure you got enough of paper underneath. With a window, you can kind of scrape off any little bit of excess paint there that's on it. But when it comes to anything, if it's onto a different color, make sure you got it taped. This stuff here is the most best tape that you can get, and you know, you can see the brand there. So I got all this taped up because this is just molding and metal underneath that don't need to be taped or painted, sorry. And I just got this painted here because you don't really need paint in that. And I got it kind of wrapped completely around here, so you don't need nothing taped or painted here. It's just the lip that goes around the window. And I wanted to paint this, remember, where the sun had faded the paint back to the metal. You can see that it was black at one time. This is the outside of the van, so the sun really got a hold of that. And you can see the inside of the van, you can still see the black, because the sun didn't really get a hold of it. You can see that he taped this right here This is all one piece. You can see they taped it so then it don't get any paint on that rail. But if you get a little bit of paint on the rail, it's fine. It won't hurt nothing. So I just gotta sand this down here now with I don't know, probably a 400, maybe even a 3, not sure, grade of sandpaper, and then work my way up to like 1,000. So give it a nice smooth finish to paint. And that's how you tape and paint that. So while I'm getting the other one ready there for painting, you can see the other side. I just sprayed this with some spray and iron around the gasket here and around the rail. You can actually see the dirt. How much dirt that was on this is unbelievable. You know, people don't clean vans like they clean cars back in the day, you know. That could be about 30 years worth of dirt here. It sure looks it. I gotta say, that's really, really dirty. So, and this is not even, I just sprayed it down. I don't even have any water on this or anything yet. This is crazy. I'm going to take a fine brush here now. It's not metal brush. It's almost like a plastic brush. And I'm just going to scrape it down and clean around the edges and everything. You can see, look at the dirt. Wow. So, I'm going to clean that up, and then I'll take this side up, and then it's ready for painting. Alright, so this is the window vent painted. You can see it's very glossy and nice and shiny. It's very smooth to touch. I sanded it pretty good. It's almost factory. And you can see, remember, that was gray. Faded right out, now it's gone black. Right nice and smooth. That's what you want. And you can see I left the latch there, chrome. I just taped around it. And you can see that all this is done like brand new again. You can see a little bit of paint there on the window. I get that off. It's no big deal. It's glass, you know. Nothing can stick to glass. And you can see all that. All that's right nice and clean there. I didn't get any on the rubber at all, which is great. So that's the inside. And I'll show you the outside. Remember, this was no paint at all on this at all. So this is perfect. And you don't need to go past the molding with the paint, because you can't see it anyway, is in the door. So all that is done. Like you said, those things there are not replaceable. This was all one big strip of metal glued onto the window, and then when it came over here they bent it with the window, turned it and cut off the excess. That's what General Motors done there when it came to this. For the people that got the chrome ones that are rusty, is either sand them, paint them a color, or get them re-chromed or something like that, or get a whole new window altogether. But these things here were not meant to be replaced. Alright, so today we're going to be taking apart this window, taking it completely off the door. And you can see that the reason why is because this thing was hanging down. The chrome was staying there, but the window was leaving the chrome, which is a big deal. You can't be having that. And plus this window don't lock correctly. So how you take that apart, as I showed in other videos, is you take those screws out there, one there and one there. And as you can see, these windows are very easy to come out. You take off your latch, you haul out your window, and she should just slide right on out. Or you can slide it out the other way if you got your other window out. But the best way is to slide it out this way. So if you have any problems with this rail here being bent or just rusted out or whatever, you gotta take your window out, of course, and then take your weather stripping off. And then in behind it you'll see screws. This is screwed into the door itself, so there should be screws there, and that takes it off, and it takes the whole rack out. So how to take these latches off. You can see this is window's completely out. You don't need to take the window out to take the latch off, but I had to take my window out, but I'll show you. You can see that there bolts to the door. So you just take this, you push down nice and hard, and you turn it clockwise, and it should break like that. It should come out, and you can see why it does that clockwise thing. It goes into that little design there, and you can see right here. Then there's just this little gasket, and that comes up like that, little metal gasket. Then we got this little rubber gasket that comes off. Then you lift your window, and it should just pop out. A little hard to do with one hand, but there you go. And out comes that. And there's your lock. And make sure you got a gasket outside the window and inside the window as well. Sandwich in between. And there's your piece. Alright, so today I'm going to be doing these. Restoring these, if you want to call it. I'm not going to go completely all chrome again. And just with the black insert for the letters, I'm just going to go completely black and then outline again with the chrome around the edges. I'm going to leave that black here, and I think I'm going to keep these chrome up on top, and all this is going to go black, and it's just around the edges. I'm going to keep it chrome, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. But I'm going to completely paint the whole thing and then sand just the edges around to clean them up, just to have it pop again with that design. I was going to cut this out and put lights in there. I've seen it on Fords. I'm not sure if Dodges or Chevs got it or not, but I was going to put lights in there and have it lit up Sportvan, but I'm not going to do that now. Normally on a restoration, I normally bring everything back to original, but this van I want to do something a little different, and I'm going to show you after it's painted what I'm going to do. Alright, so now she's painted, and now I just gotta sand down around the edges and show you the name, Sportvan, because the van's going to be black. And just for instance, this is what you're going to see. You know, black background, black is not going to look good at all. So I gotta get it to pop, you know, so you can see it and read it, stuff like that. This little piece here is going to go yellow. Originally was a sticker that went in here to talk about volunteer mechanics or something back in the day, that the vans support that or something, or Chevy supports it. But anyway, I'm just going to paint that yellow and see if I can get a sticker down the road. But as you can see, I kept that chrome there, and I just painted just the inside there, in between the layer. You see what I'm talking about right there. So I just got to sand around the edges and then have that done. And then I'll show you that. One more for the road. Here we go. And it's all done. Well, 90%. So what I've done is, as I told you, I painted it, and then I had to use a scraper, and I had to scrape off the paint on top where it was so thick with the enamel paint. When you're going to paint something chrome, go with the enamel paint. I tell you now, it really bonds. I never had to put no primer or anything there. Just paint it over 2 or 3 times, let it sit for a few days, and this is what you get. So I just scraped it all. It took a little while now. It wasn't just 5-10 minutes. It took half an hour or so over the 2 emblems. And then I used the 120 sandpaper. You can use something a little bit more harsh if you want, or I wouldn't go any more up in the number because you'd be there all day. But you need something that's a little bit rough. You know, this is a 400. That would never do. You need something that, you know, is really rich in those rocks that are in there in the paper. So anyway, I did what I said I was going to do. I painted it, and I just did the overlay. Just sanded all that down, and I'm going to be painting this. This is my I do believe it's going to be yellow, so I'm going to paint that, and I just want to show you. You can see it's flaked inside the A there. You can see that there, and a little flaked in the N, stuff like that. These badges weren't you know, top quality badges. You know, there was a lot of peeling and everything going on there, but it wasn't, you know, wasn't really bad. You know, it wasn't. So I decided I never bothered just to sand it or anything like that, so I just paint over it, and I did what I did, and I think it came out pretty good. So this is going to be the how-to video, how to redo all that, because this is what General Motors done. they painted the whole product, and then they had a machine or some guy holding this on with some type of tool, and it went down on a belt sander, and and that's what came out. And you can see it's chrome. I didn't paint that silver or anything like that with an artist brush or anything. That's chrome, because what was under the paint was chrome. So it actually cleaned up very well. You can see, and it's not messy. You can see on the side here. I never sanded any more down, just the very top layer, and that's what that is. So it's going in for clear coat, and then it'll be perfect to go on the van.